Welcome to Finance This, Property That. My name's Dion Fernandes, and this podcast is for property enthusiasts, time-poor professionals, self-employed borrowers, and strategic investors looking for residential or commercial property who want more than just a low interest rate. They want a strategy and a team around them. Each week, I'll share strategies, structures, and lending moves that actually grow wealth, not just get you the loan. And also, I will help you surround yourself with information from professionals in their field. If you're here to build smart, not slow, you're in the right place. My vision is to empower financial legacies for generations. I am a mortgage planner and finance strategist, and I work with doctors, developers, business owners, and high-income earners to build serious property portfolios. So without further ado, let's get into today's episode. Hey everybody, welcome to this episode of Finance This, Property That. Got some very special guests. I mean, all my guests are special, but this one's probably a little bit more special. We've got Jess and Chris. They are rental property managers from Spectrum Estate Agency. I didn't screw it up.
No, you got it.
Got it. On. Nailed it is what they'd say. Got them on here today wanting to cover off, I do a lot of clients with portfolios, and one of the biggest things I see is the properties aren't managed correctly. And what we want to talk about today is maximizing returns through having a good property management strategy.
Yep.
What do those strategies look like? How should investors think, what are the key questions you should be asking about your property manager? And we'll talk about a few trends. We'll talk about some numbers. What are the trends in the next 12 months that you guys are seeing? Cool.
Sounds good. Thanks for having us.
Welcome.
Cool.
But before we get into it, I got to congratulate you guys on moving into your new house.
Yes, thank you. With all your help, we were able to get in there.
I didn't do anything. I just punched numbers in and hit some bit buttons and magic happened.
Sign here, here, and here.
I think
Sign here.
A bit more complicated than that. Our loan didn't seem that straightforward, but you got across the line for us, and it was very appreciative.
Wasn't that hard once I got the explanation from Simon?
Yeah.
Oh, this is what you want to do. But also, more importantly, I think, you guys help so many people protect their investments. And that's what I love. I love helping people get in. Like, this is an investment for you guys.
Yeah.
It may not be a rental investment, but it's actually an investment in your family.
Well, it's our business. It's our asset. This is the legacy that we're essentially creating for ourselves and our kids. So.
Yep. And I do remember, and I don't normally call people on a Saturday, but I do remember calling. I called you on a Saturday.
I think I just got home from the
your
pub.
loan's approved. just got approved. Have a good trip in Queenstown.
Yeah.
Like, yes.
It was, literally, it was like 7:30 at night too, I think. And I got home with dinner just before Jess. And so you said, don't tell her. And she was walking in, then I put her on the phone. Yep. And you're like, it hasn't been approved. She's
No. No, you said, I've got good news and bad news. And I was like, oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Bad news is you're going to be in a lot of debt.
But the good news is you're approved.
Yay!
You're approved for the debt.
Yeah.
But I think that those sort of calls, I do like doing those calls, and it's fun. Like I said, I don't normally do the Saturday calls, but I knew that you guys are going, and the last thing I would have hated for you guys to get on the plane going, is our loan going to be approved?
That was the most stressful thing for us, is because we had so many things going at once. And the 2-week international holiday, and we're like, oh.
Just throw some more complexity into the bucket. But no, man, we're here to talk about your business today.
Sure.
Right? And what do you guys do? There's a lot of property managers. Now, I speak to heaps of them. I've seen some good ones. I only work with good ones. So,
of course.
I've seen some pretty lazy ones.
Yeah.
And you, being in the industry, would see that. So really want to talk about with you guys maximizing returns through an effective property management strategy, and what does that actually look like?
Yep. Yeah.
Cool. We're going to cover what strategies you don't have to give away all your trade secrets, but just some key points. I think more around what rents are doing, and then how do you retain tenants, or how do you know what tenants are good? And what investors should be thinking about, and some trends.
Yep.
Sound cool?
Sounds
all
good.
right. But tell us a little bit about your agency. What do you guys do? How long have you guys been around
Okay,
for?
So I've been in the industry 15 years. A lot of that was as a sales agent, starting up in Toowoomba, and then moved down here in 2016. Continued on the sales career, then worked in corporate for one of the big brands, and in that role was sort of tasked with going up and down Queensland, training officers, but also recruiting new officers. And I guess in that time is when I saw property management doing very, very poorly. There's some really bad property managers out there. And obviously, Jess and I then met, and Jess had a background in real estate as well.
Yeah, so I've been in real estate 13 years. It's all I've really done. And yeah, I started as an assistant to the CEO of a big brand company. I learnt admin, payroll, accounts, property management, sales. I was an assistant to a sales agent, and in 1 year we sold 98 properties in just 12 months. So done everything there is to do with it. But I genuinely had a passion for property management because it was fun. You had your portfolio and your clients and your people, and then it was all about growing and maintaining those relationships, where a lot of the sales properties, it was very transactional. Done and dusted.
That's what I hear a little bit more about. Yeah, so the property management side of things, that relationship. But you're right. It's sort of almost like, oh yeah, we offer that.
Yeah,
we may
it's
not
the
do it
ugly
well.
cousin to the sales office. So whereas we wanted to take an approach where that was our focus, we can still do sales, and we do them, and we do them well, but we really wanted to build a good property management brand.
Yep. But I guess when you do the sales, you pretty much do the sales for your portfolio of clients anyway. So it's not as if you're
Or their referrals from our existing rent rolls.
It makes sense because they're probably going to sell a property to buy another property, and you sell that property and it's like, well, I already do the property management for it. So
the amount of
it's a
times
no-brainer.
we've done deals for Joe Blow's cousin and then their work friend's auntie, and then, a lot of it is referral based. And I think that comes down to, you got to do a good job, you got to be trusted, and then people are going to want to have their friends and family being looked after by someone that's trusted as well.
Yep. As that building that network of trusted advisors is literally that is, I speak about it all the time. It's the team that makes the dream, like teamwork makes the dream work, right?
100%.
If you don't have a good team, your investment is going to turn to shit very quickly.
Yeah, it's like anything in life, really. You surround yourself with the right people. It's how you're going to be a good person. You're going to be successful. I think we spoke about it during our deal, having a good accountant on our side. We had you on our side. Just everything around us was the right person to make sure everything worked.
Yeah, you guys were there's a few moving parts that we were doing.
Creative accounting.
Yeah. There was actually no creative accounting. It was just more how do you want to
Structure.
It's the structure that needed it. But there was other things that were happening with the business side of things, doing a commercial application
Refinance,
what did we end up saving you 3%?
Yeah, on the interest rate.
On the interest rate, geez.
Our repayments for that changed dramatically.
It was cash flow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're looking at it from a high level. The business has got to operate for you to make money, for you to actually then go and purchase a property.
Yeah.
And mate, shout out to your accountant. Like I know how he's done it, and it's probably. I think if you went to a standard broker, you would have got a no.
Yeah. 100%.
I'm actually.
It would have been a too hard basket.
Too hard basket.
Yeah.
And that's not blowing my own trumpet, but I'm sitting there going, oh, I know I can do that. It's just, let me see if I can. Let's get some solutions. And that's where you guys also look at, from your property management side of things, the solutions to improve someone's investment.
Yeah.
So yes, from that point of view, how do you make sure that your clients' properties are actually performing?
I guess the first thing we do annually, because now we can only increase rents once a year.
When did that change?
September last year.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So we can only increase rents one time per year. So we've got to make sure that we're up to date with the information. So when it comes to lease renewal time with our owners, we actually compile an interactive comparable market report to show owners these are the properties that are rented close by, what they look like, so they can click on that property, see all the different photos that we use in advertising, so that we're comparing apples with apples and say, okay, well, we think we're a bit better with that one, we're not as good, and we're giving them the best chance at getting the best rent in that at that time.
That also helps in negotiations with the tenants, because I've worked in offices before where it's like increase by $5, $5, $10, $10, and that's all they do. Whereas when we have this report, we're justifying a particular price, and sometimes it is a bit of a jump. And so when the tenants push back, you say, well, look, this is the report that we've actually given to the owner. This is the evidence, and this is why we think it could achieve that price. 9 times out of 10, they sign. So, you know, obviously everything's a negotiation in real estate. Sometimes you've got to go back, and it's better to retain a really good tenant than if you're squabbling over, you know, $10 or $20, than to have them move out, then the property's vacant, then you've got to relist it, you're paying for advertising, you're paying for let fees. So you've really got to do your numbers and say, what do I want from this?
Yeah. You've almost lost the gain.
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
And so sometimes that is an education thing that we have to calculate that and go, okay. And we do keep our vacancy period to around 3 days from when a tenant moves out to when the new tenant moves in. And that's purely just because we're on the road. As soon as they're out, we go do that vacate inspection.
What's the industry average?
It's about a week to 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay.
So our owners don't miss out on much rent.
Yeah. You were just explain, how do you do that?
Well, it's just Jess has me super organised.
Numbers.
We are systems and process driven. So from the minute that tenant says they are moving out, things start getting booked. Okay, so that's the date they're moving out. That's our vacate inspection date, which is when we see if there's any issues. Otherwise, we're doing the entry condition report at the same time for the next tenant. That next tenant is generally picking up keys a day or two later. Yeah. If there's
And
any
you're saying
issues,
that's-
we've still got a day there that we can get it sorted out.
And I think it comes back to educating the tenants. This is our expectation when you move out. Here's a copy of your entry when you moved in. You've got to return the property to the same standard. Here's some bond cleaners. Here's some carpet cleaners. Here's some contacts that you can use. So we're giving them as much information as possible.
So because going back to the rent every year, changing the rent every year, I actually don't think that's a bad move. I don't. And the reason is it actually keeps your cash flow going as well.
I guess where I feel different ways about it in that if the tenant broke a lease during that year, we cannot increase it. So if the market has moved.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I thought it would be if they broke the lease, it'd be, well, okay, we can negotiate.
It's linked to the property, not the tenancy. And so that also means if you're renting your home to your brother at a cheap rent and then you sell the property, that buyer can't increase the rent from 12 months to when your brother either first paid or first got increased. So if he just signed a new lease, 3 months ago, and then he's moving out next week, that new buyer has to retain that rent for 9 months before he can increase it because it's linked to the property. So there's pros and cons with it. It's just things to be mindful of.
And I think what it comes down to is rent payments are like that's the key, but I think the real strategy now for investors has to be retention of tenants.
So how do you guys go about retaining? What's some key things that you look to retain?
Happy wife, happy life.
Yep.
Happy tenant, happy landlord.
Yeah.
It's making sure that if there's maintenance, you're not cutting corners, you're getting things done, because a tenant wants to stay in a home as long as possible when it's their home and they've got kids or it's, close to work. But if they're reporting maintenance and things aren't getting done, they're like, oh, my landlord doesn't care, my real estate's not doing anything, and they get frustrated. So it's making sure that you're treating them and the property fairly.
Yeah. I think upkeep of the property these days is probably the big one. If something is reported, get straight onto it. Show your tenant that you're proactive and giving them a good home.
How would they report something to you guys? We pick up the phone, send an email? What's
big
the
one.
Go?
I think, we've got a great relationship with all of our tenants that we're almost friends with them. So they have no issues picking up the phone with us. And then generally if we're out, we'll say, shoot us an email, attach some photos, give us as much detail as possible. Because the better detail they give us, the better detail we can give our contractors. So the job can be done quicker. It might be able to be quoted just from the photos. So it just speeds everything up.
Yeah. Hey, I'm renting at the moment in an estate that's been run by a property manager, but they run everything. I just asked for a light to be fixed. It took them 2 months.
Yeah, it's not good.
I can just do it myself, but I'm not allowed to because electrical.
Yeah.
I'm like, light doesn't work.
Yeah.
Like, look, it doesn't work. And it was like right above my desk where I do all my work.
no,
It's so annoying.
yeah.
But it took them 2 months. That peed me off much.
And you start to think negatively, is it the agent that's not reporting it to the owner, or is the owner just not caring? You know,
It's in a complex-ish thing. It's in Everton Park somewhere.
Yeah.
So I don't know whether I think they were doing other works, but I'm like, I don't care. I just want my light fixed
Yeah.
because I just want to be able to be productive.
or you just want to be updated.
Yeah.
And that's the other
And
thing,
I'm chasing them.
communication. Yeah.
And I think there was the shower I couldn't adjust the shower. So, and that took like a month till after I moved in. So my daughter couldn't have a shower in her own shower. She had to have it in my shower. And she's like, when am I getting my own bathroom? It's a dream. Like 12-year-old girl gets her own bathroom and stuff. And she's got all her accessories laid out and it all looks really good. But then she has to have a shower and the ensuite.
So you think, it's just a light bulb. It's just a shower. And then the next thing. And then the next thing. And it all adds up. It snowballs from there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, but plus side, the guy came in and goes, I'll just fix all three.
Done.
Perfect.
I'm like, awesome. Yeah. He goes, mate, as soon as one goes, all three will go.
Yeah.
I'm just going to fix all three. I've got three. I'm like, awesome. Great.
Yeah.
Awesome. No worries. But yes, it is. That was very frustrating being a tenant and not having responsiveness. So
Yeah.
I appreciate that. I know my tenants get quite well responded to by Michelle, who looks after mine, Adam Warner. But very. I don't even hear. I don't even hear about my property.
Yeah. And look, we've got some landlords that say to us, Chris, Jess, the less we hear from you, the better. So but then there's others that just want to be involved in every decision, and that's fine too. Like we're okay with that. We just take the time to get to know that that's what they want.
Yeah.
And so those ones that don't want to hear from us are the ones that say, just get anything sorted, get it done. Those ones that want to be heavily involved, it's, hey, this has been reported, here's the quote, and they might say, get another one, things like that. But it's tailoring.
That also comes down to tailoring what they want. But in the same regards with maintenance, like, do you want a cheap dishwasher with 1 year warranty? Do you want a more expensive dishwasher with 3 years warranty? Are you planning on keeping the investment long term? Are you planning on moving back into it? Are you planning on selling it? So we need to learn what our clients' investment goals are so that we can tailor what we're doing for them, essentially.
So what you guys are, okay, so as an investor, because you guys are a key part, so your role is, I think, is one of the key parts to making the investment grow.
Mm-hmm.
So what should an investor be looking for in a property manager? We already know speed.
Yep.
That's one. You guys got that. What else should they be looking for?
Although with speed, sometimes the fastest tenant isn't always the best tenant either when you're looking at renting the property, like you're advertising it and you're finding a tenant. We've worked with owners before where they've had property managers, they're like, yeah, sweet, we found your new tenant, put them in. And then in 6 months' time, they're defaulting on their rent, and it wasn't essentially the most logical choice for that property because they didn't do all the correct checks to making sure that they could afford it and their rental history and things like that. So you don't want to rush things either. You want to take your time. And I think the difference with Chris and I is we've both owned properties ourselves before, investment property. Like, we know what it's like to be a landlord. We know what to look for.
I think for an investor, you've got to stop. Well, they don't have to stop. Sounded like I'm directing them, but I think they've got to look at it as part of their team. So no longer is a property manager just a rent collector for you. This person's your eyes and ears on the ground. So they're the ones that are going out and doing routine inspections. And I think hold property managers accountable to those. You want to see good quality photos. I mean, we do ours with the 360 camera. So you get a snapshot of the whole room, which puts a lot of things into perspective. But then we'll take those close-ups of any issues or things that we can see down the track becoming an issue. So carpets starting to wear. Hey, let's start budgeting for the next 12 months, 2 years that we might replace those carpets when a tenant moves out. Sort of making them aware of these little things. We are really big on with I think routine inspections are really important. We check
Flexi
hoses. insurance companies are starting to not pay out on those because it's a maintenance thing. And everyone knows they've got them, but they don't know what to look for.
Is it the flexi hose underneath the
Underneath
sink?
the
Underneath
sink.
the sink.
Yeah.
You see a little brown spot on there. Well, that's prone to burst at some point, and
That's rust.
That's rust. So it's leaking
I'm
through.
going to go look underneath the sink.
Yeah. But it always bursts when someone's on holidays or away for the weekend, and they come back and there's a couple of inches of water through the house. So we check those every routine inspection. Without fail.
Is because we were just having a chat before. I know obviously there's a cost to doing business, right? Like you got to be paid for your work. Do you find that in your industry there's a lot of undercutting and underselling of the value?
100%.
Yeah.
Because that's
And we
what I find in
tend
my
to-
industry as well. It's
Yeah.
really annoying.
It is 100%. It's frustrating, but we stand by the service that we give too. So if someone doesn't see value in what we do, let them go. But we generally find they do come back.
Yeah.
And at like adding to that, if you came to Spectrum, you're dealing with Chris and I, the directors of the business, the owners of the business. We're invested in making sure that your investment is positive and profitable. You're not being palmed off to someone that's been in the industry for a year or someone that's not going to be at the same place in 6 months' time. You get what you pay for as well. And I think, would you rather someone that is experienced looking after your $1 million property, which might cost you $2,000 a year, $2,500 a year, whatever it might be, versus you've got someone, like I said, is inexperienced, doesn't really care, they're just getting paid minimum wage. And yeah, you might have saved $200 a year with that, but then what service level are you getting and what service level is your tenant getting?
Well, it's the same questions I ask people. It's like you're coming for the Rolls Royce, but expecting to pay like Mazda prices.
Exactly.
Like, what do you? I mean, I don't like. Obviously, I've got to be careful about what I charge clients, but there are certain instances where there's a commercial application that we go through, or the development. Like, I'm going to have to charge you for that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of work that even goes into it. But it's that whole you get paid by the bank thing. And it's like, yeah, but only if and when your loan funds, not for all the work that I do prior to it and then all the costs and stuff like that. So, there's a reason why people come to you.
Yep. And
They've got a problem.
they got a problem. And we do pick up a lot of business from other property managers dropping the ball. There's no denying that.
It's where I pick up
and-
a lot of my business. It's like
Yeah.
my broker doesn't know what they're doing. I'm
Yeah,
like,
the first 1 to 3 months of us looking after property is generally fixing issues.
Oh.
Yeah. And because that person's had a bad experience, they're on edge for that first few months, and that's our job to make them comfortable and realize you're in safe hands now and calm them down. We're part of the team with them.
What are some of the issues that you guys pick up? Like, we won't name names, but like what are some of the key issues when let's say you've just taken over management of a property?
So I can give you a prime example. We just took over management of a property where the tenant was on a 3-year lease.
3-year lease.
Yeah, it's not uncommon. Within that lease, there was meant to be 2 rent increases, one after 12 months, one after 12 months.
The standard CPI sort of.
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
That first rent increase was never implemented, completely missed. The owner wasn't aware because they had a couple of investment properties and they just assumed everything's been taken care of. That second rent increase was due to come in, and that's when the owner's like, man, I haven't, like, what's the go? I thought rent should have gone up by now. They questioned that agency. Then it was a big rigmarole. They started pointing fingers. Oh, no, that wasn't me. That was the previous property manager. Or, oh, no, the lease, there's a typo in it. We can't enforce that. The tenant knew she should have paid that increase. The onus is on her. Like, she's done the wrong thing. We'll just invoice her for all that missed rent.
Oh, as if the tenant was going to pay that back. It's not the tenant's fault.
I mean, it's
legislation.
It is, and it isn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
legislation dictates you're meant to provide the tenant with notice when it's within a fixed period. So the real estate should have told the tenant. Yes, the tenant might have been aware of it, but she also knew her rights. And so she was like, I'm sorry, you guys have stuffed up here. Again, dick move, but whatever. And so, yeah, we had to go through this whole rigmarole with them explaining what their rights were and what their rights weren't. And then that agency was like, oh, well, we'll just increase the rent from 2 months from now because you have to give 2 months notice. And then we've turned around saying, hey, whoa. This is really poor advice because rents are now capped. You can't increase more than once in a 12-month period. And what you're increasing it to now is actually already under market rent. You're best off letting this current lease end, which ended in, I think, 7 weeks or 9 weeks at the current price. Yes, you're going 9 weeks without that increase that should have been taken into consideration. But at your new lease, you can then increase the rent to market value. So it's things like that.
And how long before the lease was ended?
It was like less than 3 months.
And they were going to change it in 2 months.
And it was going to be to what the rent should have been on that lease.
And then they wouldn't have been able to do it for another 12 months.
Correct.
That's so dumb.
And that increase was predicted 3 years ago.
And it was, you know what has happened in the market here.
Yeah,
So it's
we're going to talk about that in a sec. But that's nuts.
Yeah.
Wild.
So, geez. 3-year leases. Who would have?
Look,
it sounds like a commercial property.
To be fair, I could understand prior to COVID people doing longer term leases when increases weren't as big. But since COVID, when we're seeing double-digit growth in some areas, I really think you'd want to just do your 12 months because you want to review that and go, okay, it has gone up this amount. This is what we're going for.
Yeah, I know when I signed my lease agreement, it was, hey, you're going to be paying this till here, and this is the standard. This is from this date, it's going to increase to this.
Yeah.
And they were very meticulous about sending me the emails and going, hey, don't forget this. And hey, there's going to be a partial, because they wanted it done They wanted it done paid weekly. I'm like, oh, for cash flow purposes, can I do it monthly?
Yeah.
So they're really accommodating with that, and they worked out the weeks, and she was really lovely about it. But at the end of the day, I'm still paying you.
Yeah.
So you're paying it. But yeah, I was notified. I was told, and now I just don't have to hear about it till the next lease agreement, which I'm sure it's going to go up.
Yeah.
But it didn't go. It only went up by like $50.
Yeah.
But whatever. It's $50. But it's just, that's just so bad. Like, it's your job. It's your one job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's doing, you only have to do it once every 12 months, is to tell a customer you've got to increase, or tell the tenant, hey, don't forget this. I mean, you can even automate that.
Yeah.
It can be automated. That's the thing. And it's frustrating, but it's systems and processes. And it's also, that's staff turnover in an office. You see, a property manager would have had it. They've left, haven't told the next person, oh, by the way, there's that, even though it should be automated anyway.
Wouldn't it be in like their CRM?
You'd think. But again, when they don't have an invested interest in the business or the client, they don't care.
Yeah.
But I find as well, when we do a lot of takeovers, the first indication that your property manager's overworked or has lost their care factor is the routine inspections get pushed to the side and stop happening. So we've taken over a lot of properties where the tenants have been like, oh, wow, you guys are coming for a routine. You guys are the first people that have seen it in 12 months. People just don't inspect. They get too busy and they just hate doing routine inspections, so they don't go out.
And the whole point of the routine inspection is not to like, I mean, this is my understanding, being on both sides of the fence, it's not to figure out how much dust is on the wall.
No.
It's to figure out, hey, what are some of the issues? That's my understanding, is what are some of the issues that are happening now or could happen, to be able to predict cash flow and make sure that you've got enough money and protect the investment.
Exactly.
Am I far off?
We're there to, no, it's 100% spot on. We're there not to judge how you live. Ultimately, if the way you're living is affecting the property, yes, we're going to have to say something, but we're there to check for maintenance. We're there to see if there's ways to improve the property that can increase the capital value of it or increase returns. We're not there to go, shit, you got to pick your jocks up off the floor. Like,
well, you'd hope that it'd be at least nicely
oh,
done.
you'd be surprised. No, most people clean up, and we're not there to wipe windowsills and things like that and with the white glove.
That's the actual perception of what.
Because there's been some that do it.
And the amount of reports that we've been given during a takeover, and it's like room clean and tidy, and they've taken a photo of like the bed made, and you're like, zoom in, there's a potential roof leak because I can see a water stain on the ceiling, and they just haven't looked.
Yeah, I know mine, when I took the entry report, Jana, my partner, and I just went through it because I'm just so paranoid that like they're going to come back to me and go, oh, you did that. I literally started going, nah, you missed this, you missed this, you missed this. That guy hated me, but I'm like, I just don't want to pay. I go, you said that there was something here, but that's not where it is. It's actually this big chip over here.
Yeah.
It's on the basin and it's on the bench. That's what you've missed. That's not me.
I always tell tenants when they're first moving in that entry condition report is the most important document in your tenancy, because when you go to leave, that's what's going to be relied on. And hopefully it's still with us and it's going to be a lot easier. But if it goes to another agency or anything, you need to cover yourself. So if we've missed something, write it down.
Took photos.
Yep.
And I sent emails.
So our
videos.
We actually have a bit of software that we use, so it's the 360 inspection for the entry with all the photos, but then it's sent as a digital copy to the tenant to do, and it compiles their photos and everything, and we can compare, we can do all of that. So
Handy.
no more paper stuff. That's messy.
I haven't rented for ages.
Yeah.
It's a bit uncomfortable, but it's getting more comfortable now. So I think it's that whole, when we were first renting, they were like, I don't think even I had an inspection when I was first renting. I haven't had one here yet.
Well,
Really?
I mean,
case in point.
but I mean, I know I keep it quite tidy.
Yeah.
But
again, are you checking flexi hoses? Are you checking for these types of maintenance things? But tenants don't look at it.
I don't look at that.
Exactly.
It's not my job.
Yeah.
I just look at it and go, oh, taps are still working.
Yep. Until they're not.
Yeah. I do want to actually ask them to put like a security door on the front door so that I can actually open up the front door and the back doors and get some bit of airflow.
Yeah.
I don't know how I'm going to go about that, but I should be able to do that.
You can definitely ask.
Whether they do it or not.
Yeah.
Well, they'll get a couple of quotes and make a decision from there. But
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Put solar on the roof. Make my power bills go down.
Yeah.
add another level.
Yeah. Oh no, this is pretty nice. But look, I mean, there's a lot happening in the rental investment market at the moment. What are some of the key trends that you're seeing now? But what should investors be aware of coming up or in the next 12 months?
Yeah. So there's a lot of stuff in media about housing crisis and things like that. And stock is low, but I think what we need to accept is that it's more an affordability crisis, is that we've priced out that lower end of the market now. You know, what they used to be able to rent for $350, $400 is now $650, $700 a week. So it's that lower end has got a lot of pressure on it. They're the ones that are struggling to find homes. What we're seeing is that there's still shortage of stock, but the growth is starting to settle a little bit in rents. In some areas that we look after, we've noticed it even like that investors have been pushing for more and they've had to come back a bit. So it's still, you're getting great returns. Don't be scared of the Brisbane market. I think it's the place to be investing in, honestly. Anywhere in Southeast Queensland's going really well. Over the next 12 months, there's going to be still growth there, but we've just got to, it's probably not going to be the double digits we've seen for the last 4 years.
I think it's going to slow down.
Yeah.
But not break like Sydney and Melbourne did.
No.
Well, we had times with open homes where we'd have 40 groups through an open home. Now we've got 10 to 15 groups. We're still getting lots of people through the door, but it's nowhere near as hectic and crazy as it used to be.
You're probably getting the right people through the door.
Well,
Yeah.
Well, sorry, shouldn't say that. The right people to be able to afford the rent on that property.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I'm assuming, unlike when you go buy a property, you actually have to have like the rent amount. Do you have to have the rent amount when you're advertising a property?
Yeah, so we have to, it has to be advertised with a price, unlike sale properties in Brisbane.
Price
by
to
Yeah.
negotiations.
don't
For
even
sale.
get me started on that.
I could do a whole podcast on that.
Yeah. Maybe the next one.
Yeah.
And rent bidding is now illegal,
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
They
just gonna
can't
touch on
offer
that, yeah.
above the
Yeah.
advertised amount anymore.
which I think it's creating a more fair playing field, particularly for tenants where, you know, they might have that 6 weeks rent. So your first 2 weeks plus your bond. And that's sort of all they have up front. And other people used to be able to offer 6 months in advance and things like that. And now they can't do that. So it's making it fairer for everyone which I think is good.
Yeah, I've agreed with that
Yeah.
change.
There's been a lot of changes that have come in the past 12 months.
I actually asked if I could pay like 2-3 months in advance or like 6 months in advance. Like, no, you can't do that. I'm like, okay.
See,
But
we
I've
always say you can pay as much as you want. I can't encourage it, and I'm not going to. In the application, you can't say that. But if once you're in there, you say, I want to pay 6 months, go for it. And there's no advantage to the owner, but yeah.
In fact, they then have to start budgeting cash flow wise because they get all this money and then they get a couple of maintenance bills and like, oh, I've already spent that money. So
Yeah.
it's actually harder for the owners when that happens.
Bloody hell. So many rules.
I know. Yeah.
Rules. What other trends are happening? Like, what should we actually be aware of as an investor?
I think one of the big things that came in last year with the legislation change that all investors should be aware of is around break leases. So what used to happen with break leases was the tenant would be up for the advertising and the let fee plus rent up until the day before a new tenant moved in. That's now been changed in that it's a capped amount based on how long of the tenancy is left or rent up to the day before a new tenant moves in, whichever's the lesser amount. So this comes back to the retention thing. If you've got a property that you're not maintaining and you're going to have tenants coming and going, breaking lease, what have you, it's going to be very, very expensive for you when you've got let fees and advertising that isn't being reimbursed anymore. Particularly,
If you have 3 tenants move out in a year, you're paying 3 lots of let fee, 3 lots of advertising.
yeah. And particularly when we're quite quick at getting someone in, that outgoing tenant could only be up for 2 days extra rent from their move out date that they want. So that's the compensation. And
Okay.
so, yeah, my message to owners is if there's maintenance to be done, do it. Look after your tenants and go for retention instead of trying to find another tenant every 6 months.
It costs more to find another tenant, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So
Well, let fees 1 week's rent plus GST. Your advertising, depending on the area, can be $200-$300. Every time, and it's a lot of work on our end too because it's not just seeing that tenant out. We've got to then do vacates, entry condition reports, process
it
applications.
all costs money.
Yeah, it's all time.
And that's what, as an investor, like you have to charge that. You're
Yeah.
a business. You can't.
Yeah.
You're not working for free.
Yeah, like we can't waive them because the tenant broke lease each time. There's a lot of work involved.
I think, even talking about you got to pay for what you're doing. A lot of people have the misconception that property managers are just rent collectors.
Yeah. But some of them are. Like,
Well,
literally,
some of them
are.
but like that's
The
Yeah.
right one isn't just a rent collector. They're on your team.
And I think that's back to the whole who's on your team. That's one of the things that gets missed out is that they just don't have. Oh man, I had to tell a client. I go, "What's your property manager doing?
Yeah.
Like, when was the last time you increased the rent? Oh yeah, it was like 12 months ago, and it was $10. I'm going.
Yeah, doesn't
You're
sound
telling
right.
me your rent increased by $10. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like, let me just pull up a rental CMA. Like, I'm not a rental expert, but I got the data. I just go apartments and this. What is the median rent for this 2-bedroom apartment in this place? Going.
Yeah.
well, that's like we had a landlord that had come across to us from another agency, and within 6 or 12 months, they were raving about us and like, you guys have just done so much more than my other real estate did in 3 years. And this also came in time when that we were doing the lease renewal. So we did the CMA and everything for him. He goes, I've never received one of these before. And we were justifying quite a substantial rent increase. And that got me thinking, what have we actually done for our clients? So I went in, did all the numbers. And at the time, we've got 160 rental properties. On average, we look after clients for about 3+ years. Some move in, some sell, things like that. Over that time, I calculated what the initial rent was for each property, what the current rent was at the time doing that report, and we had increased rents for our entire portfolio by over $16,000 per week. That's $840,000 a year in increased rent for all of our clients
Yeah.
since coming on board.
What do you say to that? Like, I mean, it just got to and you guys wouldn't manage. You're not going to manage anyone and everyone.
No.
As well.
Well, we are Spectrum, so we look after
The whole spectrum.
The whole spectrum of
Yeah.
properties. But no, we're it sounds bad, but we're not afraid to let someone go either if they don't sort of fit our mold, in that if they're not going to maintain their properties, or if they don't want to communicate when there is an issue.
We had to let someone go at the beginning of the year because, there was mold throughout the property and they wouldn't get it done. It's minimum housing standards. You have to get this treated.
Yeah, man. The place that I just bought, I don't know how they even lived in that property.
Yeah.
We had to throw the oven out.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Half the doors weren't even opening properly on the kitchen.
Yeah.
I'm just going, how does someone live in, how could you, it was just.
Was it a rental beforehand?
So I think it was an elderly couple used to live there. Then I think the husband must have died and the wife then moved to care, then they rented it out.
Yeah.
And I just don't think the upkeep was done quite to the standard. But I also don't think they were paying a hell of a lot of rent in there either.
No. Yeah.
And it bleh.
Not that should matter.
No, it shouldn't, but I don't know who was renting that property.
Yeah.
I didn't pay much attention, because whoever it is, they're not renting anymore. So, yes, it was a fun experience ripping up the carpet and being all handy.
Getting all itchy just talking.
Oh, yeah, I got itchy right everywhere. But, yeah.
Some interesting smells come up when you lift the carpet.
No, it was actually not bad. Like,
Really?
the actual bones of the property were great.
Yeah.
Like, except there was just a couple of issues. The carpet was, like, it's an old house. It's a brick. It's a brick. It's a brick house.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Advertised as renovator's delight.
No, absolutely not. It's once we get into it and fix up a couple of things, it's gonna come up.
Oh yeah,
Mickey Mouse.
Spot on.
Yeah.
And it's quite funny. We actually asked the agent who was selling the property to give us a rental appraisal. It was the weirdest rental appraisal I've ever seen. It was like, it's this, but it could be this, but we think it's this. I'm going, there's 3 numbers. Like, what do I tell the bank? And then I quickly just went, hey, Michelle, I know you're in Germany right now, but can you just do this? I just need it for the finance application.
Yeah.
But, oh, mate, I tell you, just it's when I was talking to the agent and she was like, oh, yeah, if you get this done, this will rent for like close to $600 a week. I go, but why didn't you say that in your rental appraisal?
Yeah.
like, why didn't you just say that instead of giving me 3 numbers? She goes, yeah.
That's another misconception though. When people buy properties, they just think, oh yeah, the person I'm buying it off, their team can just manage it. Like it'll just be easier. It's
no,
not at all.
I no, like,
avoid that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not rented out now. There's no lease on it.
Yeah.
So I can start from scratch as soon as we put that in there. It's going to be rented out for what it's worth. The people that are building out the back, they also do the rental. I'm like, no. Yeah. I'm going to get this done first.
Yeah.
Then I'm going to sort the other crap out because we just need, because my brother's in there this weekend rejibbing and fixing up waterproofing and stuff. The painters are coming in next week. The flooring is going to come back. Then when we get back, we're going to go back and put on the blinds and the door handles and stuff like that.
All the pretty stuff.
Oh, mate. Anything that involves a drill, I'm okay with, right? I can put a screw in. That's okay. But that then also gives us a feel and an indication of there's a bit of work to do. You know, we've got to put a new carport in. Mate, this carport was just put in to like concrete. You know those rubber buckets that you can get? They just fill them up with concrete and put the poles in there. And then they've actually tied each of the poles to the house and to the fence. It's so dodge.
They would have grabbed the rope and gone, that's not going anywhere.
Basically.
Yeah.
And Jacob's come in there and gone, that's illegal. And my brother's gone, that's illegal.
Yeah.
And if a bit of wind comes up and it lifts, I mean, not saying that it will, but it could. It's like, just get it done.
Get it done.
Get it
done.
sorted. Yeah, get it pretty much.
Yeah.
So we're just like in that phase of, I already know, like John's like, oh, just do this. I'm like, no, it's not happening. I will sort that out. I've got enough connections in my in my industry to know who the good ones are and who's not. So
Yeah.
probably have a couple on the podcast today.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll be waiting for the phone to ring.
Yeah. But look, guys, really, really appreciate your time. I know it's quite precious. Running around after kids, enjoying your new home, removing retaining walls,
I know,
etc., all
yep.
the fun stuff. But
Yep.
appreciate you guys coming on the show. Love showcasing your business.
Thank you.
So, someone wants to get a hold of you guys. How does one get a hold of you?
Quite easily. So either jump on our website or give me a call. My mobile is 0409 870 000.
What's your website?
SpectrumEstateAgents.com.au.
Cool. Are you on Instagram?
We are. And Facebook.
Do you post regularly?
Yeah. we
Probably
do.
not as regularly as we should, but yeah.
But we do. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
So
the
we're on there.
education's quite.
Yeah.
That's the education. Like that's where all the education's found.
Yeah.
Awesome. LinkedIn?
Nah.
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 Who's your ideal type of investor?
Oh. I don't really have an ideal type. I like types that I can have a bit of banter and a bit of fun
Like-minded
with.
people.
Like-minded
Yeah.
people, don't take life too seriously, but we're all here for the same purpose at the moment, and that's, wealth creation and things like that. So we're here to help them.
Yep.
Someone that we wouldn't mind having a beer with at the pub as well.
Awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's cool. I'd have a beer with you, but I don't drink beer. But I'll have a
wine, cocktails, or
Coke, no sugar. There you go.
Yeah.
Awesome. Guys, thanks again for coming on. As per usual, the information on this show is very general in nature, does not take into consideration your personal circumstances. If you want to talk about your current portfolio and property management and how, you could be potentially part of that $800,000 growth in a year, Chris, Jess, you know where to find them. If you want to talk about finance, find me on Instagram at Dion Finance Specialist, LinkedIn, Dion Fernandes. This podcast is also online, financespropertythat.com.au. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you on the next episode.
Thanks, guys.